Hey, and welcome to Unlearning Stress, the podcast where we break the rules and cycles that keep you overcommitted, overstretched, and just plain exhausted, and replace them with something better. No fluff, no guilt, just real talk, real solutions, and expert insights to help you shift the way you live. Whether you're here for the first time or you've been with me for a while, you're in the right place. I'm Michelle O'Neill, your resident emotional wellness coach, and I'm here to help you unlearn the patterns that are wearing you down so you can live with more ease, clarity, and control. Let's get to it. Have you ever been in a clothing store and you're trying something on because you have an event to go to, right? And your girlfriend's there with you and she says, oh girl, you need to get that. You need to take that home. And the salesperson is like, oh my gosh, that color looks so great on you. And out of the corner of your eye, you kind of see someone standing off the side and you glance over there and you see the snarl and the shake of the head, the slight shake of the head, and the eye roll. And so all of a sudden you start second guessing what you have on. Does it look right? Do I look fat in this? Or maybe they're just my friends and the salesperson just wants to make a sale, and my girlfriend, she just wants me to feel good, and she wouldn't tell me it looked bad because she doesn't want me to feel bad. And maybe this isn't the thing. Maybe this I'm too old to wear this or whatever. Have you been in one of those moments, right? Watch how fast that room flipped. And then, or maybe, that single look can hijack an entire day, because for the rest of that day you're going to be thinking about maybe you're too heavy, or now you can't wear that type of dress, or whatever it is. Or maybe, get this, you were in church, right? And you went to church and you had on a dress, and even before you put it on you were kind of wavering. I hope this looks okay. I like it. It's my favorite dress or whatever. Or you're concerned, and then you get there and someone well intended makes a comment. And so now you're second guessing your choice. Is my dress too tight, or is this wrong? And again, that single comment, that single look has that tendency to hijack your whole day. And I've seen this in every setting. Yeah, I gave two examples of clothing, right? And clothing is great because I know that's where we can really identify with. I love going shopping. I love trying on clothes. But what about in a corporate setting, or even a PTA meeting, or maybe a casual brunch with your friend, and you happen to glance over and someone heard part of your conversation, and they shake their head or whatever it is. But that one raised eyebrow, that one sideways glance, that one subtle sign, and suddenly competent, capable, you start bargaining with your own confidence. So I want you to take this gut check. Why does one micro reaction override a dozen affirmations? And what I want to do today is I want to pull on that thread and find out what's really going on behind that. Because I want to talk about what's actually firing off when one sideways glance hijacks your whole mood. You know, we have a natural threat detector, whether you know it or not. We were created with a wired brain that flags danger fast. It's our protection. That's how we were made. And the amygdala is the little sentry that spots anything that might equal rejection. One raised eyebrow sends it into high alert. And so what happens? Well, your cortisol floods your bloodstream and your heart rate climbs and breath goes shallow, and that vagus nerve decides flight, fight, or you freeze. And most women, in all actuality, we freeze first, even if it's for a split second. and then silence or stillness. And then we flip over into over explaining or apologizing. Am I speaking to you? Have you ever fell into any of this? Someone says something to you, and now you all of a sudden you're apologizing or over explaining why you wore that red lipstick today because it's a little too loud. Well, you like it. That's why you wore it today. And you decided that it made you feel good. It brightened up your face. And so that's what you decided to wear. But that one comment makes you second guess and decide maybe this isn't the best choice. And then we have that early conditioning. And boy, I can go into this one. And if praise meant peace in your life and critique meant conflict, your body memorized that threat ratio. One micro frown was a smoke alarm. It doesn't matter if you're 40 in the boardroom, your nervous system still thinks that you're 6 at the dinner table. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, even now, I love my mother to life. But even now, when I go home and I visit her, and we decide we're going to go somewhere, whether it's just shopping or going to visit another relative, she'll look at me and say, "You going out like that?" I'm like, "Really?" "Yeah, I am." Or she'll say something like, "You can put on some lipstick." "No, that's not me. That's you. I see you got your lipstick on." "But no, mom, I'm not wearing any." Simple things like that. "You going to iron that?" "No, it's supposed to be wrinkled." Okay. But it's our early conditioning, and we get to decide how we deal with it. And I want to share with you a couple of more examples of that. Remember, I just talked about it happens in the boardroom? Well, just think about you're sitting there and you present, or you're standing there and you present this rock solid data. One executive just leans back and glances at his watch. All of a sudden, your shoulders lock. Your voice changes or tightens, or it raises just an octave. And you rush through your closing so fast that what was supposed to land, half the room misses that win. All because that one lean and that one glance at the watch distracted you and threw you off. Or what about that mom life? You're not the perfect soccer mom. And I know I wasn't. And you pack this lunch on the fly. Hey, you're just making it on time to make sure your kids got lunch for the day and you don't have to give them money for lunch again. And all of a sudden, this other mom kind of sees what's in their pack and she says, nothing healthy today? Instantly, your throat, there's a lump in it. And you spend that whole afternoon wondering if you're failing your kids instead of celebrating that they actually ate. What she doesn't know is when they come home and they had lunch that you fix, well, they ate all of theirs. See the difference? And then what about social media, that you wrote this post and all of a sudden it's like getting all this attention and you're getting all this engagement and there are 40 hearts, right? And it's a beautiful thing. But all of a sudden, you see, there's this somebody clicked the eye roll. And you start wondering, was that a mistake? I mean, there's nothing really here for them to have an eye roll with. And then you look at the name of that person and you're like, should I ask them why they did the eye roll? And guess what? This loops in your head even at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's something that pops back in your head and you can't even sleep. That emoji face, that eye roll emoji face, it keeps score for that part of your brain already tracking threat, because that eye roll in your book was a threat. And your body tells you all this. Remember, I talked about that lump in your throat, your shoulders getting tight? Your shoulders can actually creep up. You ever feel all of a sudden the tension in your shoulders and it just creeps up and your jaw sets and all of a sudden you find yourself clenching your teeth when you thought you were over that? Or your breath stays at the top of your chest and instead of breathing from your diaphragm, all of a sudden you're breathing from your throat and your voice sounds funny. And thoughts just jump into your head about fix it now, fix it, change it. Look, that's not weakness. That's your biology telling you to keep you safe. And one dismissive look doesn't expose your lack. That's not what it's all about. It may be in their mind, but that's not what you're about. It exposes how loud your nervous system can shout when it thinks belonging is on the line. That's what's really going on. Safety and silence aren't that same thing, though. And that's where the cost starts stacking up. Let me tell you right now, your belonging isn't on the line. And so I want to take you through something that I dealt with. And years ago, what we're talking about, how one micro or rejection can change the whole day and how you see yourself. And so years ago, this was a predominant trigger for me. And I want to show you what one micro slight actually cost you. For me, it was showing up as anger. And when I say anger, it was a layered anger. And my first layer was that I felt desecrated, looked down on, one raised brow, and suddenly my worth felt like it was on trial. And that second layer that I'm talking about, that was me mad at me. Mad that I let it land, mad that I swallowed it, mad that I took it home and replayed it again and again instead of ignoring it on the spot. That's what I should have done. And the third layer of anger was I was mad at them because it cost them nothing to curl their lip, but it cost me a night's sleep. Oh, yeah. And that fourth layer, you're like, how many layers is this girl going to have? That's a lot of pent up anger there, right? Well, I was mad about the makeover that I'll do next time. I would be bending over backwards, over delivering, trying to earn a smile that shouldn't be the metric in the first place, just because I let that one person define my actions. And you know what? It cost you. And I'm going to show you because there's a hidden bill in all of this. Your first debt is your sleep debt. Wide awake, 2 a.m. in the morning, rehearsing comebacks, what you can say next time, because you weren't quick enough on your feet that time, right? Or what about self-betrayal? Reshaping your voice, your work, your clothes, or even your lunch choices just to dodge another silent judgment. And then there's that energy drain. Hours, not minutes, hours of mental spin that never moves the needle on your calling. It does absolutely nothing for you, but it seems to be doing a lot to you. And the last part of that bill is relationship tax. That's snapping at people who had nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. Because of that frustration that you had from somewhere else. Now, if you notice when I did this bill, it was almost like going into a restaurant and you get to see the itemization of your bill. And there was a tax on it. It was that small look that created this big bill. And when I finally laid that receipt on the counter, I realized I had to make a choice. What do I put back on the shelf? You ever do that? Get up there near close to the front of the store and realize, you know what, this is going to cost me more than I thought. What can I wait to get later? Right? And I hope you walk back and put it on the shelf. Don't just put it on some side counter or something. Or what about whose opinion is too expensive to keep? When you start thinking of the cost, you start asking yourself, do I really need this? Is this worth me spending this much time, this much thought on? Do I really want to keep this? And then finally, have you ever done this? You get to the front of the store and you look at what's left in your cart and you think, you know what? I've done put so much back. I don't feel like finishing checking out. I'll get this later because I don't feel like standing in this line. And so you ask yourself, is this cart worth taking out through checkout at all? Because peace has a price tag too. Do I want to give and take on this sleep debt? Do I want to take on this self-betrayal? Is this something I really need or want to take on? Can I put this back on the shelf? Do I really want to hold on to this energy drain? Ooh, that one's an expensive one. I think maybe another time, right? And that relationship tax? Oh, I need to go to a state that doesn't have tax because that's not one that I'm willing to pay for. That's what I'm talking about. And that's the real cost. Peace has a price tag too. And it's about how easily we trade our peace for someone else's passing opinion. That I can just about bet when you walk out, they're not even going to remember you. They're definitely not going to tell somebody else that they saw you in that dress that don't fit or what they thought didn't become you. And once you see this bill, that bill that I just laid out for you, you have to decide who's paying it next time. Will it be you? Are you picking up this bill? Or is it time to let someone else pick it up? Here's where everything flipped for me. I let the anger rise, not at them, but at the part of me that almost handed over the steering wheel. And there's a moment that I hear myself say, oh, heck no, not on my watch. That's the snap. Is when I remember who I belong to, who created me, what he already called me capable of. No one, no lip curl, no doctorate, no side eye gets to rewrite that. So I take back the keys. I take back my ownership. I'm the one who let that glance set the atmosphere. I did. I'm not going to blame you for that. And if I open the door, get this, I can close it. And then I need to do an identity check. because I remind myself I am fearfully and wonderfully made, point blank. That's Psalms, not psychology. And listen, sometimes it's a boundary out loud that I have to set. Thanks for the feedback. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But I'm good. Sometimes it's a silent reset. Shoulders down, breathe, and keep it moving. The point is, the anger becomes fuel, not a sinkhole. It's a righteous alarm that says, get your authority back. Because here's the thing, your creator didn't put your voice in this world so that it could shrink every time someone else's raises an eyebrow. Look, let's make this practical. You know, I'm not going to leave you without giving you some steps to use this in your life. So, the thing is, knowing your own car is one thing. Because remember, I'm talking about taking your keys in your driver's seat, right? Knowing your own car is one thing, but keeping the wheel when someone else grabs it is another. So when that silent judgment creeps in, I whisper something out loud. Thanks, but I'm driving. Short, clear. It reminds my brain who holds the license, whose car it is, and who has the keys. I roll my shoulders back and down. Whew, slow exhale. And it sounds small, but it tells my vagus nerve we're safe. We're standing on the road we choose. And here's a 3-question check for you. Number 1, does their opinion feed my purpose or just their ego? Number 2, did God change his call on me in the last 30 seconds? Woo, because I didn't hear that one. Or number 3, is adjusting worth the toll? Or do I keep cruising? Don't do the toll roll. 9 times out of 10, that third answer is keep cruising. If the room still feels heavy, what I do is I redirect the spotlight. I say something like, that's an interesting take. Here's where we're headed next. That keeps the meeting room moving and keeps me in the driver's seat. Practice it once in low stakes settings like the PTA meeting or grocery store checkout, and watch how fast your nervous system starts trusting you again. Come on, say it with me. That's an interesting take. Here's where we're headed next. Sounds good, right? Remember, nobody else was issued a license to steer your calling. You can let them ride shotgun, but the wheel, whoo, that stays in your hand. So I want you to try one of these moves this week. Then tell me how it felt driving your own car instead of handing the keys to a side eye. I want to hear your road stories. All right, let's park this. One side eye, one eyebrow, one sigh. They can't drive your car unless you hand them the keys. Today, you heard why your body flips into defense and what it really costs, and the simple moves that keep you behind the wheel. So, here's your take home. The next time that silent judgment shows up, drop your shoulders, grab your phrase, thanks, but I'm driving, and keep moving in your lane that God gave you. If you try that this week, tag me or shoot me a note. And I love road stories from women who refuse to ride shotgun in their own life. So until next time, keep your keys, keep the peace, and I'll see you on the road. Take care. Bye bye. If this episode hits home, don't just push it aside, lean into it. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and connect with me on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Substack, where we go even deeper. Links will be in the comments. And if you're ready to start unlearning the patterns that keep you stuck, keep listening, because real change happens one choice at a time. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.